Hello, my name is Julie Lee from We Learn to Share, and today I'll be going over Unit 2, Networks of Exchange of AP World. Today we will be focusing on the Mongol Empire and the consequences of connectivity, and in the next video, we will begin Unit 3, which includes information about land-based empires. First, we will start off with Subunit 2.2, focusing on the Mongol Empire and the making of the modern world. The Mongols emerged in the 13th century, and within a few years of coming into existence, they managed to be in power of the largest land-based empire during their time. However, despite having a large reign over such a large region, culturally, the Mongols had a small influence on history. One of the most important figures in Mongol history is Genghis Khan, also known as Temujin. Despite having a difficult childhood as a child, Genghis Khan was able to come into power by making alliances with all the Mongol tribes. As Genghis Khan became stronger, he managed to gain a reputation for being ruthless and brutal with his enemies, allowing him to secure a string of victories. Eventually, after multiple victories against enemies and uniting all of the Mongol tribes, Genghis Khan eventually became the leader of the newly unified Mongol nation in 1206. Genghis Khan managed to unify all of the tribes through his unique tactics in war. One of the tactics included fighting without a main blueprint. This meant that Genghis Khan had focused on just conquering, which had allowed for him to gain access to more resources. Another one of Genghis Khan's tactics included his organization of the army. Genghis Khan had organized his army into military units of powers of tens, which had allowed him to effectively control his soldiers. Another important fact about Genghis Khan is his religious tolerance. Compared to other leaders at the time, Genghis Khan had allowed for people to keep their religion and did not force them to convert. Through Genghis Khan's leadership, Pax Mongolia, which essentially translates to Mongol peace, was an era where Eurasia was in a state of stability, allowing for trade to flourish. Basically, during Genghis Khan his leadership, this was able to be established. One of Genghis Khan's most significant conquests was his conquest of China, which lasted from 1209 to 1279. The conquest eventually led to the unification of China and even the establishment of the Yuan dynasty. However, by the 14th century, the Mongols were forced out of China due to many reasons, including factionalism, the plague, and multiple peasant rebellions. Now we will move on to Subunit 2.5, which focuses on the cultural consequences of connectivity. The main cultural consequences relates to religion. When religion was introduced to new areas, the two main consequences included that one, religion had unified the people and provided justification for leadership, and that two, religion was able to syncretize with other religions, producing other new religions such as Zen Buddhism and New Confucianism. An example of the cultural consequences of connectivity can be reflected through the Muslim merchants. From the Indian trade, Muslim merchants were able to share about Allah and His Prophet, which ended up converting lots of people. Another cultural consequence of connectivity is shown through the growth of cities. An example of this would be Hangzhou, where the increase in trading had led to the increase of urbanization in the city. Cultural consequences of connectivity can also be reflected through the travelers during 1200 to 1450. The two main examples would be Marco Polo and Ibn Battuta. After telling his stories of China, Marco Polo had influenced the European population to travel Asia and purchase goods. Similarly, Ibn Battuta had traveled the world while recording information in his journal, which eventually influenced the Muslim population. Now we move into Subunit 2.6, which focuses on the environmental consequences of connectivity. As trade continued to flourish from 1200 to 1450s, this had allowed for the new crops to be introduced to new places, which in result allowed for populations to increase. The best example to represent this situation would be champa rice. Champa rice was originally from Vietnam and was introduced to China through trade. Due to the rice being fast and easy to grow, this had allowed for the rice to be produced in mass quantities, consequently allowing for more food to be available and thus large-scale population growth. Another environmental consequence of connectivity is the movement of disease. The most famous example of this would be the Black Death. The Black Death was transmitted through fleas which had bitten a carrier of the plague, which was usually rats. However, due to the Mongols and the trade routes, this had caused the merchants to unknowingly bring fleas with them wherever they went to new places. In result, this had inevitably caused the Black Death to spread worldwide and cause millions of deaths. Finally, we will move into the last subunit of today, which is subunit 2.7, and focuses on the comparison of economic exchange. First, we will look at the similarities of the three main trade routes we have been studying. One similarity between the three trade routes is that the routes heavily depended on the establishment of large states. This basically means that when the trade routes were heavily controlled and protected by the large states, for example, the Mongol Empire, this had allowed the merchants to feel safe and hence allowed trade to flourish. Another similarity is the purpose of the routes, where the primary purpose was for trade and the secondary purpose was for the exchange of cultural goods, such as religion. The final similarity between the routes was that it influenced the growth of trading cities all over the world. The Silk Road had produced Chang'an in China, the Indian Ocean had produced Calicut in India, and Srivijaya in Southeast Asia, and the trans-Saharan routes had influenced the growth of Timbuktu and Mali. Now we will move into the differences between the three main trading routes, which, as a reminder, I will tell you that they're made up of the Silk Road, Indian Road, and the trans-Saharan routes. The three main differences were goods, technology, and religion. All three aspects were different depending on the trade routes because one, each route had specialized in carrying different goods. Two, the routes had different conditions which required new and different technologies. And three, because not every religion crossed the same route. And if you wish to know about the specific examples, have a look at the table on the bottom right of the current slide right here. It contains the different goods, technology, and religion corresponding to each route, which is the Silk Road, Indian Ocean route, and the Trans-Saharan route. And that's the end of today's video. I hope it was easy to understand, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. Also, if you would like to watch more videos from We Learn to Share, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. Thank you.